everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
Today we're taking a look at an expansion for Expeditions, Gears of Corruption. This is, Expeditions is sort of it's not sort of, it's a spin-off of Scythe, a very different game that came out around this time last year. So we have an expansion with more stuff.
I like stuff.
So I'm going to show you what's in the box, and then we'll come back. There's a lot of extra stuff in this expansion. So there's a couple things like, for example, they replaced a tile in the base game, basically just changing the number there. They've added 2 new mechs, which I'm showing you here. And more importantly than that, they added boards for all the player mechs. So this is what the original board looks like, if you remember. The new one's dual layered and a track for each, which is one of my biggest complaints about the original game. But the 2 new mechs here, you see this squat mech here, and this one, I'm showing the wrong mech board for it. Whenever you gather, you may trash a map to act as if corruption is not covering a benefit. And then we have this farming mech here. Whenever you finish a refresh, you can trash a map to do an extra action. That's pretty cool. Speaking of maps, there's new maps in this game that when you get them, you can turn them in for the bonuses on the other side. They're also slightly larger. The game comes with more starter cards here. So you have Zira and Kar, Freya and Loki. This one is kind of weird because they work with the purple ones. They even have purple starting abilities on them. And then Bjorn and Mox. So there's a lot more characters to choose from. The game also comes with mech cards. Now, there's a couple things to note about these mech cards. This is used kind of as a drafting thing at the beginning of the game. Tells you what each mech does. But you'll all start with a gold worker. This worker is wild, can be used for anything, counts towards your numbers of workers if you need 7 workers for the goal. So that's going to be there. Everyone has those. You also have a new player color, green, in the game. And you have 6 new corruption tokens that are value 2 that are thrown into the bag. So that's all stuff you just throw in. But there's also an optional module of the corrupted mech. So when you're playing with the corrupted mech, and by the way, you can play this game with 6 players now because the game allows that with that extra color. But when the corrupted mech will come out the first time someone gets glory. You just pick a mech no one's using. It's going to come out on the board, and you're going to put 5 of these cards out here like this. These are the corrupted mech cards. You'll have a deck of them. And then you'll keep this corrupted mech card by the person who got the glory. And every time before they go, the corrupted mech goes. And we're going to add a new card to the top of this stack here. And then it will show you how it moves. It shows you the directions. And it kind of will always move somewhere. It kind of will bounce off different spots on the board. And if it moves into you, it will do something bad. This just makes you go down 1 on this mine track. So there's various negative things here. I think losing a card is probably the worst of the lot. You can also fight the corrupted mech. If you're next to it, use a vanquish action. Just pay these costs. Keep it. It counts as a token. And in fact, you can blow up the corrupted mech, and then it's gone for good. Okay, before we jump into this, let's quick kind of get a recap of where we stand in Expeditions. For me, I loved the game. I thought it was a very enjoyable game. My only caveat was I didn't really want to play it with more than 3. I think 3 is an amazing number. 2 is also good. And I'll play 4 grudgingly. But that's where I stand with Expeditions. I thought it was a very fun game.
Right. Yeah, same here. I really liked it a lot. I liked the 3, maybe 4, but I enjoyed it more than Scythe, honestly, for me.
I want to say I was an 8.5 or a 9 on it, and that still would stand. And I had the same issue, really. The only issue I have for the game is just that it didn't scale well.
Which makes it hilarious that in this expansion, he's like, you can play with 6 players. It says in the rules here, and I quote what the rules say because it made me laugh out loud when it said it added a 6 player. It said, in a 6-player game, there will be slightly more downtime between turns, though the increase in starting resources should keep the total playing time to around 90 minutes. No. Straight up, no. Now, he's right that the increased resources will make things faster, but no to the faster time. Okay, So there's two kind of halves to it. Well, there's three halves. First of all, there's replacement stuff. 3/3.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. There's replacement stuff that, a new tile, some more items, which makes me think items were being slightly underutilized. I don't know.
Right.
And there's just replacement stuff. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I give Stonemaier a lot of grief that he's always introducing fix packs for his games, which this is a little bit, but I didn't think it was a big deal. This extra stuff, well, why not? Fix, if you're going to give me more stuff, why not fix the things you don't have a problem with? The only one that I am really glad he did, fix-wise, is the new mechs with those boards, because that was one of my problems with the original game. I did not like those tracks moving up the corruption to two different types. I really disliked it because the pieces didn't even fit on the tracks. Now they're dual layer boards.
So nice.
Although he still doesn't make them with feet or whatever, I add feet to my boards because you're sliding cards under them all the time. Right. That's my only, but I mean, these new boards, to me, that was a necessary fix. The other stuff I don't necessarily notice.
Were there not the little plastic feet that were included with the original one? I thought it came with some that you could choose to put under there or not. But regardless, I agree with you. I think that there was one tile that was corrected and one card. So not a whole lot there, but the improving of the player boards, big upgrade there.
That's huge.
And then there's the more stuff aspect to it. So we have another color, which I don't want to play 6 players, but hey, if I want to play green, I can do that. 2 more mechs and 4 new sets of starting cards. All that is great by me. I especially like the purple player because it's weird and unusual. And then, even bigger than all that, those wild workers that everybody starts with.
Love that.
What a boost jump to the game, and it helps a lot in a sense of if Joey and I both need a red worker on turn 1, and he goes to red worker space, and I'm like, well, thanks a lot. Now what do? That's no longer an issue. I might not get a worker as my first action. In the original game, that was almost always my first action.
It eliminates that mad dash to the worker place every time. It just really gets you started moving.
And it's funny because I have to think that Jamie himself, the designer of the game, had to realize that this was almost a callback to the Grande worker in viticulture, right? It's basically the same thing. It's basically the same idea, where it's a little tweak that makes a huge difference, and it's even similar, like with the different kind of meeple. So I got a kick out of that.
But also, I'm a big fan of the whole drafting at the beginning, having more mechs to pick from. And again, the mech powers were never that big of a deal, but those starting cards are a big deal. And the way that they work, combined with your mech power, makes a nice asymmetrical way of starting the game. And then again, that's kind of a callback to Scythe, where you have one mech and then one little set of power cards. And now that there is 7 times 7, that's 49 different possibilities. That's a lot of mixture for me.
And starting resources and all that stuff, yeah. They work out well.
And the thing that I've liked about those new powers that they've come, with the new combinations, is that it seems like it does make it so that you're not, you feel like you can really utilize those powers to do what it is you're trying to do. So you mentioned the new purple ones. I actually really enjoy playing that character too, because it lets you do some of the things that in the original game without this didn't seem to be as viable of a strategy, kind of going for those purple things and allowing you to more quickly gain certain things that will lead you to those stars, like making it easier to fulfill quests where maybe you're not getting the actual benefits from the quest, but you're able to fulfill that kind of category to get a star more quickly. It's a subtle tweak, but it really does change kind of how the game feels, and it leads into, it kind of like feeds into the idea that the game is going to be propelled forward a bit, because you start with resources now. You also have maybe possibly ways to get towards some of those boasting things more quickly. So I like the forward momentum of the game from the beginning is a little stronger.
And also added to that forward momentum is the new map tokens. Map tokens were kind of in the beginning of the game, like, why am I collecting these? Oh, you can use them for a few things, whatever. Now you're like, I want a map tile.
Yes, because they're like bonuses on the back, and then you have those new characters that actually utilize those map tokens for different things. That's a really, really big addition.
Okay, so then the other thing, the last part of this, there's not a lot in here really, is the module. This is the only thing that I would consider, like, I don't know that I would throw in for new players. Everything else, new players are playing. But this is the Corrupted Mech module, which when I first heard about it, I was very, like, I don't want something around that's just moving around and attacking us. But I found that the attacks were fairly weak.
Yep.
And it gives you something to go after. I was like, oh, I might not be able to do the corruption on the tiles, or sometimes people are clearing that corruption away pretty quickly. Here's something else to go do. It just gave me kind of a mobile target, and it wasn't strenuous to move it. It's pretty simple to move. I think, again, it would be too much in a 4-player or more game having another mech on the board, but in a 2 to 3 player game, it also blocks some spots on the board, but gives you just something else going on. It makes the game feel a little bit more alive.
Right, especially at lower player counts. And I think it also eliminates a lot of camping. If you have one person that's staying in one area you want to get to, that mech is going to kind of get them out of there, you know? It adds some different variety to the game, I think.
Yeah, it was the one that I was the most kind of like wary of too, Tom. But I mean, that's really what this one is about. It's about the corruption in the game, and that's why, you know, it's called Gears of Corruption. And so while I agree with you that I wouldn't necessarily teach with this to first-time gamers, it's something that I'll probably include more often than not. Again, I'm not looking to play this 4 to 6 players regardless. So in a 3-player game, I think it works well. In a 2-player game, I think it works very well. I like the fact that not only is it giving you something to go for, like you said, because a lot of times corruption would get cleared very quickly off of the map, because not only is it one of the things that you can get a star from, but it's just going to give you points. And so this is giving you another way to do that, because now you can, but it counts for both, which is what I like. It counts for those cards that you can get from defeating the mech at a particular point, also count towards corruption. And so it's simple to implement, especially if you've played the solo version of the game. The way that the movement works is very familiar and simple. It's not very complicated to figure out how that corrupted mech is going to move. Yeah, it's neat. It's not necessary. I will say that. I don't feel like the corrupted mech is a necessary addition, but it could definitely keep things fresh.
Yeah, so this is not a huge expansion. It's a small one. I'm hesitant to call it essential, although I want those new boards for the mechs.
Right.
And I like having the extra stuff. But if you own the game, why not get it? It's also going to very, 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 very easily fit into your box, because that initial Expeditions box is so big. You know, you can fit 3 of these in there probably. But I like it a lot. It helped everything in it, made the game a little bit better. So for me, that's really, really good. 8.5.
Yep, I'm coming to 8.5 as well, which is, I love Expedition. This one, I think it speeds that game up. It gets it moving quicker out of the gate and speeds up the game. And the dual layer boards, I think for that alone, I really like this.
Actually, I would do it alone for the Gold Worker. That's how much I like that Gold Worker.
Oh yeah, the Wild Worker is massive for a beginning of the game.
Yeah, see, I want to give my score first, because then I don't look like I'm the bandwagon jumper. It's an 8.5 for me as well.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. This is the way it is.
I know. But yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's not a huge expansion, but I like that, because what it adds are all things that like you said, that are better, and it makes me want to get into the game again. Gives it a little bit more of a spark and a jump, and I hope that more people are going to get a chance to play this. I just really hope that they eventually figure out a way to deal with some of the player count stuff, because I don't understand making it a 6-player game. But other than that, outstanding, 8.5.
All righty, folks. Thanks for watching Expeditions. This has helped rekindle my enjoyment of the game, too. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
Stop the corruption.
Purple Power.
Hey, everybody. everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you, and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.